the home repair program.
Yeah, so basically, as the city has, as land bank owners have struggled to get their homes into shape, this city program, the Renew Detroit program, has also been a little bit slow to get off the ground because of some of the same reasons, the
Yeah.
cost of contractor availability in particular. So Renew Detroit, for folks that hadn't heard of it, it's a $45 million federally funded home repair program for seniors and disabled residents primarily. And it basically, there's $45 million in federal pandemic aid that's funding this. The idea was it would fix roofs and windows at about 2,000 homes. There's like a two-phase kind of program, so we're kind of getting to the end of phase one right now. But we got an update on this as well at City Council this week. Basically, we have learned that of that $45 million, around $8 million has been spent, and they expect to get to the 500th roof repaired by February. So, 500 roofs out of 2,000. They're starting to make process, but this was launched in 2021. There's a lot of folks that applied for the program and have been waiting now for quite some time to actually see that repair happen. They're really expecting, the city's expecting to ramp up quite a bit this year. They completed 311 roofs total last year. They expect to do over 1,000 this year and then finish up the program in 2025. So city council members, when they got this report, they said it's important that the residents have some of their faith restored, particularly those who have been waiting a long time. There are seniors that call into city council meetings all the time and say that, they have home repair needs and they need help from the city. And there's a number of contracts that are coming for approval this year. So I think it'll be interesting to see whether they're able to kind of get this work, moving forward as those contracts approved. Or, city council sometimes has issues with contracts, either the actual vendors or, the scope of the work or things like that. So just because those are coming doesn't mean they're going to get like immediately approved or anything like that. But I think the takeaway here is, we're getting a little bit further along in this program, but it was a slower start than a lot of people expected. And, again, it just kind of ties back to like this expense cost jumping up and, finding enough contractors. Just for like context, the average cost to repair a roof jumped from about $14,000 to $20,000. So it gives you a bit of a window.
And I wanted to, when you wrote of this, you spoke to Council Member Durrell, I believe that's District 7, speaking to saying like, okay, this is taking like over a year. These people are on the roads, but this kind of goes back to the other topic. Like I say, I think these are so interrelated. About like 6 months may not be enough time, and the land bank authority is giving people more of that grace and window because finding the people to do the work and also the supplies. COVID-19 had a big impact on access to wood, access to steel, access to all of the materials, depending upon where you go. The housing stock, and like I say, there are some investors in communities like mine where sloughs of homes have been bought by different investment groups. And when I say sloughs, meaning like not like a whole block, but it may be the same investment firm may own 4 houses on this block, 5 houses on that block, 6 houses on that block, and 3 on that block, and then just slowly but surely move through the neighborhood for what that housing repair may be in different ways. So this is kind of like pit, I think, a lot of homeowners such as myself against corporations. Like corporations have gotten into this field in the city of Detroit. This is far past the shadows of what's happening. Is I think there are some measures in place that were put in place through the land bank authority, and even like the tax sale of like what Adam Sabree has done, where things that were done before, where the classic thing of people across the country were like, oh man, you could get on the Detroit tax sale and buy a house for $1. That's not the same, but there's still a lot of investors that since then have moved a lot of their properties, and then also some of these properties are privately owned, being sold to different people. I probably get, for my properties, I get maybe about 1 postcard a month, and usually about 5 phone calls about purchasing both the properties I have. So I can only imagine a lot of my neighbors that may still own the home, or usually when the seniors that stayed in the properties, when they pass on, their children and their grandchildren are like, I don't want nothing to do with that. I live far away from the city. I don't want to go back to the city. So I'm ready to sell. So when they sell, it changes the transition, and that market now becomes something different. So I know I'm giving more of the community context of being in a neighborhood like mine, but this is really what I'm seeing as overnight, to me, a community that was predominantly owned by homeowners. Now I have a renter based community, even on my own block, you know?
Yeah, and I think, for the roof and the window repair too, it's just important to recognize that those who have remained in their homes and have held onto their properties,
Mm.
there's a huge like home repair crisis that folks have pointed to. U of M has
Yeah.
done studies putting the number in the billions of dollars. We're talking about a $45 million program. It aims to help 2,000 people, really the most vulnerable. We're talking about, low income seniors and disabled residents. There's a lot of folks who are just kind of average folks that need help with this too. And the program received like almost 12,600 applications,
Yeah.
and will only serve 2,000 people. So like that gives you a sense. There's a huge need for home repair in Detroit for sure.
And then it's odd things that happen. Another, like I said, one of the largest checks was the roof, but another thing in the studio where you're usually at and I'm recording now, um, the floor itself, like some of the foundation and structure was like dipping and caving. I bring this up to be that a church group from somebody I know in Ypsilanti was like, we really want to help do some home repairs and help people on your block. And that was the problem with a couple of different homes. I took them to rest in peace now, Mrs. Kraft. At the time, she passed away at 99 years old, but she was 96 at the time. And just the repairs are it takes a process. I don't know if people have ever seen what that process of re reinforcing what a floor would be. I saw it, the cost, the maintenance, and the labor and the time. It can be a lot that we're competing against. So this home repair program, as we say, that this is a wonderful program, and it's great. But what will the what amount of resources will be needed to really solidify something like that? I definitely think it's going to be more than the $45 million. That's one thing. And then also it's going to take a lot of patience in seeing how this all comes together, because I'm telling you, man, just being in a community like this, it is tough. Also, I want to give this in that same note of some of these repairs. Like, these repairs can reveal other things and also need to be done sometimes timely, especially like a roof. So when my roof was placed, everything was cool. It wasn't. It looked like it was no rain in the forecast and everything. It took my roof took a process of about 4 days. Of the 4 days, on day two, it started raining. That water damage connected to the roof cost me another additional like $4,000. Where me and the roofer, I'm pretty sure he was like mad and angry with me because I'm like, I'm not gonna pay the balance of what I have on the roof when I have all this water damage. So, we parted ways. I don't know if I could say amicably, but we parted ways. But this is something to keep in mind if you're working on a roof, because that tarp that we saw in that picture, that tarp is not necessarily protected from the roof. When you pull up these roofs, you're going to pull up, like, a lot of those shingles will have a lot of nails. Those nails will tear into whatever tarp you're going to put down. As you tear into a lot of that tarp that you're going to put down, it will cause some problems. And I'm just speaking to this because I was one of those people. So I'm speaking from that old homeowner. So it's going to be a process. You basically
That was
almost
Durhal's
replace
point
that roof
too.
in 2 days.
I mean, that's what Durhal was saying. When it comes to people have been waiting, a year for this stuff to get done. While they've been waiting, their roofs have been getting worse, right? Like
Yeah,
they've been
yeah,
continuing to deteriorate. And you talked about mold earlier. I mean, getting
yeah,
moisture in the house. It's rainy and snowy right now, and as we're at the end of January, I mean, those roofs are taking a real beating. So that's part of the concern too. Is like the longer this goes on, the worse condition those get in, the harder it becomes, the more expensive it becomes to repair, and the more like people face health risks too. So
yeah, yeah.